Massive YouTuber Centric DM'd me and proposed a challenge. It's Spongebob vs Patrick, and the first person to get 5 points wins. You get 1 point if the other person doesn't qualify and 1 point if you win the game. The first round was really gig and Centric had a great spawn. I, however, wasn't so lucky. Though all is not lost because the first bar nudged me a little bit forwards, but the second one launched me, giving me a giant lead. I then proceeded to take the middle section. I mistimed it, however, but I still ended up passing through it anyways. And with that, I secured first place. Round 2 was hoop shoot and I immediately got body blocked at the start, but I saw that Centric decided to go top, whereas I stuck to the bottom path. I then tried to get the hoop located in the middle, but I failed miserably. I'm thinking that I've screwed up any chances of getting first place. Either way, I went to the middle slide and near the end of it, I dove for the last hoop but landed on the floor. I didn't ragdoll upon landing as a result. Second lap comes around and I went bottom and managed to stack the middle hoop this time with no issues. Then I also proceeded to go to the middle slide again, and it seems like Lady Luck was on my side because I managed to get first place once again. And third round is jump club with 1 bar. Now by itself it looks like absolutely no problem and it's one of the easiest variations, but I had a feeling Centric could try and grab me, and I was right to feel that way. So I tried to keep my distance, hoping that people will die as the game progresses. I did try and grab him as the bar was approaching, but that didn't work, and I paid the price for that sadly because my game froze for 2 seconds and I died as a result. Currently Centric has 1 point and I have 0. Fast forward to the finale and it's Hexaterrestrial. Centric was playing really aggressively and chased down this Nandroid skin and eventually killed them. I am just praying to RNGesus that Centric loses, and it seems like he was listening to my prayers because he ended up losing. Round 1 was 40 player shoot up tumble, and I'm thinking that if I screw up I could just potentially lose. I decided to go bottom and my game froze for 2 seconds once again, but I made my way to the ring of donuts and I fell off the map. I am just panicking at this point, but eventually Centric got first place and I decided to try the new dive slide mechanic and ended up falling off the map, and I'm just thinking I'm just dumb for it, and everyone is qualifying, so I just couldn't risk falling again. So I jumped on the pad and landed on the slide, and thankfully I managed to qualify. Round 2 was hoop shoot, and within 3 seconds of the game it froze for additional 3 seconds and Centric was way ahead. I took my trusty bottom path and hoped for the best. This time, however, I managed to snag the middle hoop on the first lap, but you can guess, my game froze. However, it wasn't really that bad and I ended up getting first place once again. Round 3 was jump club, and I decided that being near Centric is not the play, and especially with just the way my game is freezing and everything, I just cannot risk being near him. So I would try and avoid him at all cost, but I knew I would have to grab him in order to get him out. So I waited until the bar was moving fast enough, but in the meantime I would run forwards, turn around, and just try to juke him and just throw him off as much as I possibly could. Eventually I mustered the courage to grab him and the bar didn't push him off the map. I am just straight terrified at this point because my game could freeze any second now. I just said screw it and grabbed him as the bar was nearest, and it hit me off too, and it just looked like I was done. The last second, Centric died and I lived. Quite literally saved by the bell. I have 1 point and Centric has 1 point as well. Fast forward to the finale and it's blast ball. I was equal parts relieved and also equal parts nervous. I noticed my game only freezes once or twice, so if it did freeze in the beginning, I could potentially survive. The first elimination came from someone just leaving the game, and the second one was me killing this guy who went near the edges to pick up a blast ball. I saw this Gato skin near the edges and decided to try and kill them. I almost did too. At one point I grabbed a blast ball, threw it in front of me so I could grab it again, but another blast ball blasted me near the other one that I threw, so I quickly jumped on top of it so it could blast me upwards and not sideways. And thankfully with that quick thinking I managed to live. I then quickly moved to one of the 4 edges of the map, and this is where I feared for my life. I could get pelted by multiple people. Even though I was getting hit, I still stood strong. I would try and eliminate people, but to no avail. Eventually there were 2 other people left, and I moved to another section and the last 2 people happened to be together, so I cooked up the ball, threw it, and I got both of them out, and I won the freaking game. With over 280 ping and 3 game freezes, I managed to get the first win. If I can get to 20,000 subscribers before 2022 ends, I will dye my hair pink. And with that, the score is 2-1. Will RNGesus continue to bless me? The third game had 3 race runs back to back, that being treetop tumble, hoop shoot, and fruit shoot. And I got first place on treetop tumble, on hoop shoot, and fruit shoot as well. I've gotten first place on all the race runs we've played so far. Well, almost all of them anyways. And round 4 was the swiveler, and I knew Centric was going to try and grab me, and that he did. And honestly, I just couldn't do much and I died. I will have no problem admitting that I got outplayed. The finale ended up being Hexagon, and I prayed for his downfall, and thankfully once again RNGesus heard my prayer and he lost. So now it's currently tied 2-2. Hoop shoot was round 1 and I took the bottom and middle path and I got first place once again. No freaking surprise there. Round 2 however was stomping grounds, and I was excited because Centric Stentric grabbing me wouldn't do much here, and it's the one rhino variation. I just stayed on the disc and you can just see how far away I'm getting grabbed from. 283 ping, folks, and only 2 people died. Eesh, that's embarrassing. Blastlantis ended up being the next round and I was scared and just trying to pass his hammer, so I waited for the right time and moved on. I did jump around on the bumper, but I made my way up and I just chilled there for a bit, and that was my biggest mistake because I died the most dumbest way possible. I needed a miracle in order to come back, and I received that miracle in the form of someone grabbing Stentric and Jump Club and him dying as a result. I got disconnected from the game server shortly thereafter. Beginning Hoop Shoot non-stop this entire session, and also I've been getting first place on it non-stop too. And by the time I qualified, Stentric still had 15 points to go, and by the end of the game he actually lost, which is to me is just the crazy part. And with that, it's tied 3-3. Puzzle Path ended my first place streak, and I was just lost in the first room, and also I was lost in the second room because of the turnstile blocking the middle line. Eventually I did qualify, and after doing so, I learned that Stentric decided to forfeit the challenge because he knew his fate was sealed when he saw me get those 3 consecutive first places back to back. All jokes aside, this video was supposed to be on his channel originally, but just some behind the scenes stuff came out and he was just behind schedule, so I asked him if I could upload this video on my channel and he agreed and let me do so. However, due to him forfeiting the challenge, I won, but I still decided to press on and hope that I could win the finale. And after an uneventful game of tail tag, I reached the finale, which was Kraken Slam, and I decided to jump on the tiles to cause some chaos, but this game was anything but that. No one came to grab me and I would just sit in one spot, and this piece was just much needed. After all the attempts of my life, and most of them were ended up being successful, the multiple game freezes and all of them and one of them cost me a game, just look how far we've come. This video has it all: drama, suspense, rage, and dumb deaths. An example of dumb death is just this Patrick skin right here. They just died in the most sad way possible. Eventually it came down to just the 3 of us and I moved to yellow and this happened. I freaking won. The final score was 4 points for me and Stentric got 3 points. If I can do the impossible task of getting to 20k subs before 2022 ends, I'll dye my hair pink. I'm confident I won't hit 20k anytime soon, but stranger things have happened.